Firstly, my intro's gotta wait, guys, because I am watching this fucking program and I'm just getting angry watching it. Basically, what we've got on here in the background is a program called The World's Strictest Parents. And what it is two, I assume, English people. They say British because British is kind of the standard way of saying anybody in the fucking UK, but they sound English to me. And they've basically gone across to America with the sounds of it, a southern family who are regarded as the world's strictest parents. First of all, I think the world's strictest fucking parents are a little bit stricter than what are being portrayed on this show, because the strictness that I'm seeing right now is a guy saying to this fat bitch who is just a spoilt fucking cow that she can't do what she wants to do when she wants to do it, and because she is only 16 years old, I think the dude is in every right to say that to her. She's just a spoilt fucking cunt, basically. But when I think of the world's strictest parents, I'm not thinking, you know, two southern American parents that are pretty damn reasonable, but just have a couple of, you know, extreme viewpoints when it comes to however they work. It's like, that is not strictest parents. Strictest parents is fucking Joseph Fritzl. People of that nature. It's fucking Ted Bundy if he had any kids. It's fucking Jeffrey Dahmer. They were the strictest fucking parents because they were psychos. When it came to disciplining people, it involved murder. It involved torture. It didn't involve fucking cutting your car battery so that you can't drive away or stopping you from smoking cigarettes. It involved serrated edges and lacerations. This is just the fucking pits. Ugh. On a lighter note, Sheriff17 once again, bringing you some F.E.A.R 3 multiplayer gameplay that I've had on my hard drive quite a while, but I've completely forgot to upload. And this is the Contraction mode, and it is a wave-based survival cooperative multiplayer mode from F.E.A.R 3. And the map is This Is Suicide, and the general thesis is just, you know, hole up in these fortified environments, kill enemies, and it's kind of like Horde, it's kind of like Firefight, it's, you know, it's kind of like zombies in essence, with a little twist, and the twist is in between each of the waves you do get the opportunity to rebuild your fortifications. You do get the opportunity to go out into the mist and pick up crates, and what the crates do, if you bring them back, they will add weapons to this wall that you can see me looking at right now, and they will enable you to arm yourself better and give you more munitions. So it becomes this kind of balancing act of repairing your barricades and going out to get crates so that you can get ammunition and better munitions to defeat the enemies. And each wave the enemies get stronger, they get tougher, they get more resilient, they get more equipped, and it's a really, really fun game mode. The only problem with it is, at the time, we couldn't quite figure out how to do private slots, so I'm in this with one buddy and one random, and as anybody knows, the dredges of Xbox Live generally pair you with the most mentally retarded people you could possibly hope to get. So the guy's a fucking moron, and all he does is pure subterfuge for the entire run. And one of the main problems with this game mode is when the weapons are on the wall, when somebody picks it up, the weapon is then gone off the wall for the rest of the round until you replenish the ammunition for it. And the best way to work as a team and to function correctly is to everybody ration and pick what weapons they're going to use, so that when it comes to the ammo refills on the wall, whoever's using that gun gets a fresh clip, as opposed to everybody using the same gun and everybody not having any ammo. When you play with randoms, all they do is steal all the fucking guns off the wall and they just cock it up for everybody, so it's absolutely bullshit. And it's a massive shame. But the second thing that this random manages to do is he manages to completely move away from where we are doing our thing, so we're all defending as best we can on this bottom floor, securing all the possible vantage points, and he goes and runs off upstairs and ends up getting downed a few times, which forces us to move out of our comfort zone, and it forces us to make mistakes potentially and ruin the run. So be warned, if you get in with some idiots, you're going to have a really tough time, because although this is on the easiest difficulty, this is by far not easy. It gets difficult after every wave, and it gets really challenging really quickly, especially if you don't have a full and organised team. So yeah, you've got to be careful. But you'll notice I'm using the pistol a lot to begin with, and the main reason for that is you get full mobility, and I do enjoy moving around and jumping about with the pistol and having fun. It's definitely something I enjoy. But this is a really cool game mode, and I've got a bunch of gameplays for it. I just haven't got down to commentating them and putting them up. But that's the biggest problem with this whole, creating videos malarkey. You tend to amass more content than you could ever commentate over and get stockpiled. And it does sneak up on you. But my role on this, at first I was going out to get the crates and everything, but I decided to just use the magic crowbar that somehow rebuilds the invisible barricades back to being completely full again. And my buddy would go out and get the weapons crate. I would stay and build the fortifications, even though the enemies strip them down extremely quickly. So it's not really much of a fucking point to it. But yeah, this is a bit of a doomed run as well, because defending this bottom room is nice and simple. You'll see we do it for a couple of waves, and it's an extremely successful technique. The only problem with it is the game employs a mechanic to stop you from doing it for too long. So if you dwell down here for more than a couple of waves, there's actually this pool of fire that moves across the ground, and it follows wherever you stood, and it kind of looks like magma about to punch its way out of a volcano, and if it goes underneath it, it causes residual damage to your character. So it pretty much results in it keeps hitting you with little bits of damage, and if you're being shot by something and you're trying to run away, it can finish you off and knock you down, and it can work vice versa. You can be getting injured by that and you'll not think it's doing much, and then somebody will shoot you and they'll finish you off. So it's a bit of a pain in the ass. And there's Alma running around for good measure, just to try and fuck you up even more. And the three things that she does are kind of interesting, in that you could potentially fuck a run thanks to her randomness. And the first one is, if you look at her, she will do one of three things. She will either teleport you to a random place on the map, which takes you away from the safe zone and puts you into no man's land, which is very dangerous. She will blur your screen and freeze you so that you move really slow and you can't see, which makes you very vulnerable to being gang raped. And the third one is the most hilarious one, because she kind of just loses the fucking rag and kills you randomly. It's just like, she's not having any fun, she wants you to die, there you go, shop's closed, fuck off, good night. And you never know which one she's going to do. And I don't have any real problem with her on the course of this game, but my buddy does. And it was really funny just listening to him fucking just have a go at this character because she kept screwing him, which was kind of cool. But it's just repair, get crates, defend, repair, gets crates, and it is kind of interesting, but the major flaw in the game mode is that there's only 3 levels to do it on, and it's a bit of a shame because this is one of the better wave defense modes that have been introduced in games. Obviously when Gears of War 3 turns up, it's going to absolutely douse these in flames, because that just sounds like they've gone so over the top. I'm going to spend the rest of my life playing that game. And yes, you will be getting a shit ton of commentaries because it looks fun as balls. Love that shit. Obviously I don't love balls, you got me. But because this is pretty much more of the same, I'm going to go a little off topic to keep it entertaining, because there's another 8 minutes left of this video, and I don't know if anybody's been keeping up with my Twitter feed. The only real reason you would want to is if you're interested in knowing about the status of the videos, the status of the guides, and how far along I am on them, because I generally keep an update every so often when I can remember to do it. I'm actually getting a little bit more punctual with it, I'm getting a bit more reliable. But on the off chance, if I'm in a silly mood, and like I'm, not with my friends talking over Xbox Live, or out with my girlfriend or something, I'll go on Twitter and I'll spout some bullshit, or I'll update on things of like what I'm doing. And what I've done across the last few days is have some pretty crazy movie nights, and I'm talking like watching fucking 6 movies in a day. And when I say day, I really mean evening, so that makes it sound a little bit more impressive. But if you're one of those type of guys that's not, if the prospect of watching 6 films in a row is something that you just couldn't do and you just think it sounds sad, then you're probably not going to enjoy the rest of this conversation, so it might be best to turn it off. But I've been balls deep into some films, and I've also been watching films that I've not seen in a while that I just wanted to refresh on because they're fucking awesome films. But one of the standouts was Hobo with a Shotgun. And I mean, goodness me, if you've not seen this film and you're a fan of the 70s exploitation remakes that they're doing now, where they're making films inspired by actual filmistic styles back in, the 70s, then you're really missing out, because this is one of the gloriously tongue-in-cheek, fucking satirically stupid and overly violent thing I've seen in a while. And if you enjoyed, you know, Machete, if you enjoyed the Grindhouse films, then you're gonna fucking love it, because it's just brilliant. And if you don't know what I'm on about, and none of that just made any sense to you, to give you some kind of context, there's one section of this film where the hobo with the shotgun, who's, you know, going on his little rampage for justice and killing all these paedophiles and all these criminals, he gets himself into a bit of a shit pit where the equivalent of the last boss is holding him prisoner, and this hooker that he previously saves in the film decides to try and rescue him. And it does this cheesy yet brilliant montage of her putting together this outfit. She's welding, she's hammering metal, she's using all sorts of mad shit. She's got like a blowtorch and all sorts of craziness. And in the end, she's got a shotgun in one hand with a fire axe taped to it like something out of Dead Rising 2. She's got a mask that she's welded together to become armor, and she's like covered in shotgun shells. And her right arm, she's turned a lawnmower into a shield. And she does this awesome speech about hobos living on the street and how we're in their homes and how we shouldn't fuck with their home. And then she goes and tries to save him, but it doesn't quite go as planned, because the last boss guy ends up grabbing her and forcing her towards the shield that's got the lawnmower blade in it. And to stop herself from being pushed into it, she puts her hand out, and the lawnmower shreds every finger on her hand except for a middle finger. And it is the most gratuitously violent thing you'll see in a while. But it doesn't end there, it gets even more fucking ridiculous. She then goes absolutely psycho from the pain and starts stabbing the guy with her middle finger, using it like a shank. It is just the dumbest, most hilarious thing. And if that sounds interesting, check it out, because it's such a great film. If you're approaching it though with like a Daniel Day-Lewis mentality that it's going to be super serious, you're in for a shock, and you're probably not going to enjoy it. You should stick to Sideways and other poncy, pretentious bullshit like that. But it's a fantastic film, I recommend it highly. I also watched a film called Cedar Rapids, it stars the dentist guy who's in The Hangover. I don't know his name, but he's a really good actor. It's also got John C. Reilly in it, the guy from Step Brothers, and Dewey Cox, who's also a really, really cool actor. And it's kind of like an indie comedy about a bunch of insurance salesmen that go to this award ceremony that's held in this really fancy resort, and it's full of condos, and the majority of people that go there pretty much go there to escape their lives, to have a load of sex and get drunk and get fucked up, and occasionally win an award for insurance. And the main character that the story follows, he's kind of comes from a very small village, and he's really naive towards any of, you know, the wider world. So he's kind of thrown into this unknown environment, and it's him, you know, coming to terms with what life is really like, and other sides of life. And it's a really interesting and kind of funny story. It's got more drama elements to it than anything else, even though it does try to be a comedy pretty hard. And I didn't find it that laugh out loud funny, but it was an enjoyable film nonetheless. And then I went on a little animated kick. I watched Rango, the Johnny Depp lizard western, which for all intents and purposes is a really cool film, because it's the closest to a western that's come out in the last few years. My only problems with the film is it's a little bit self-indulgent. It lasts a little bit too long. It's kind of like an hour and 47 minutes long when it should have been an hour and 20. There's definitely a lot of filler in that film that could have been stripped, and the start part, for some reason, it takes a hell of a long time to get into the story. And I know it's probably, you know, character development and setting the theme and the character himself and his mentality and whatnot, his attributes to his character, but I just thought it was a little bit long and a little bit self-indulgent. And then I finished up the night with Romeo and Juliet. And anybody that's thinking, what the fuck, dude, why would you watch this kind of shit? I watch anything, and sometimes you can be surprised by films, and I was really surprised by Romeo and Juliet, because I legitimately found it funny. I found it, you know, silly. I found it nonsensical but enjoyable. And it's just an animated reiteration of Romeo and Juliet with gnomes, and it's got some pretty awesome voice talent in it. It's got James McAvoy, it's got Jason Statham, it's got a bunch of other guys, a bunch of other people. It's also got this dude that does this pink flamenco, and he's fucking brilliant. He steals the film for me. I laughed at everything he said. It's completely non-serious and just an enjoyable little romp, and it's an hour and 20 minutes long, so it's the perfect length for that kind of program. But There was a few other ones that I tuned into as well. Some of them weren't quite as good as I were expecting them to be. And the films that I was watching to catch back up on, I watched Anchorman again. I'd not seen it in a while, and I just felt compelled to check it out thanks to all the movie clips that I've been putting on videos. And that film is easily one of the most quotable films you can come across. And some of the parts are... Oh god, it makes me laugh so bad. And when I first watched Anchorman, I didn't actually think it was that funny. I thought he had a lot of cool lines, but it didn't tickle me as much as it did the second time. And it's just that one bit when he's in the phone booth after Baxter gets kicked off that bridge, when he's trying to talk to Paul Judd's character, and he, he can't understand what he's saying because he's just mumbling, and he interrupts him and then says like, "Can I finish?" And then he goes back to saying that jumbled fucking garbage speak, and I was just laughing so mad at it. Just funny stuff. I also rewatched V for Vendetta, which is probably one of my favourite films, just because Hugo Weaving's performance in that movie, considering every single line of dialogue is dubbed in an ADR booth, is just brilliant. His performance is fucking stellar, and I love it. Love that film. And then the last one was Dodgeball, which has aged surprisingly well, and Ben Stiller is just as funny as he was when it first came out. But that is the first part to This Is Suicide, and the reason for the map being called that is going to become evidently clear in the next video, so I will see you there, guys, and thanks for watching.